Joining me on Impact Catalyst is Helen Hansen French. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you are the anchor judge, the last of our six judges that we previewed for the Charlie Hounchell Scholarship, Art Star Scholarship, and you judge the dance competition. Let's first learn a little bit about you, if you could please. You've had a very prestigious history thus far, and I'd love to hear about it.
Thank you. So I was born and raised in St. Pete. I was trained at the Pinellas County Center for the Arts and with Judith A. Johnson. And so all my early training was very local. I went to the Herod Conservatory, which is in Boca Raton, Florida. And then I went on to Juilliard and pursued my BFA there. And then as soon as I graduated, joined a company called Buglisi Dance Theater. And I spent I'm actually still working with them now. So from 2001 to currently, I've been a part of that company. So along the way, I've also gotten my Alexander Technique certification and performed all over the world and had really quite the privilege of traveling and performing, which I think is amazing. And I was trained in classical ballet and I fell in love with the Graham technique. So a lot of what I do is influenced by a classical ballet training and then the work of Martha Graham and her technique. And that's really where kind of my vocabulary sits inside of my physicality.
And you have a love of exploring how dance, the interplay of dance and other art forms. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as I began to develop my own choreographic voice, I realized that I actually really enjoy being in conversation with other artists, whether it's an actual, like a verbal dialogue, or if we're talking via our medium, so visual arts to dance or music to movement. And I found that those conversations are very enriching to me. And mostly because I think we say a lot of things through art that maybe don't come out in regular everyday conversation. There's a deeper meaning inside of that. And it's kind of like two souls speaking to each other. So what I really try to do is when I'm choreographing, work with others who are willing to kind of dig into a deep place. And it ends up being a lot of multidisciplines, whether it's a live musician or a visual artist, actors, playwrights. I think there's something about that sense of community that I also, I tend to blossom that way.
And speaking of community, you took your love of dance and brought it to your hometown community in the form of the St. Pete Dance Alliance. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I moved back about almost 6 years ago now, I just knew that we had a lot of dancers here, but we didn't have a kind of a landing space or a place for us to gather necessarily. And so I reached out to all the dancers I knew. Andy Scott, Michael Foley, Paula Kramer, Kelly Herman were the initial people I spoke with. And we formed the St. Pete Dance Alliance. And it really is, it's a gathering place. Right now it's a gathering place online, now that we're in contact with each other, it sparked other things. But I think it's important for a community to come together. And sometimes it takes a catalyst to be able to do that. And it's usually a tipping point. I found like one person comes in the room and then like 10 people decide to join. So I think it's important to have that.
And it seems that sometimes movement-based arts don't get the attention that some more static forms do. I was thinking about that recently, and I wondered, to some extent, art can carry value. When you think about a painting, it can be sold, it can appreciate in value, it can hang on your wall. When you think about another, any piece of sort of tangible art, there's that element to it. Whereas dance is more often an experience. And so why do you think, is that a valid reason why, more static arts or more tangible arts get a little more attention, or are there other reasons?
I think that's part of it. I agree with you that it is an experience, and sometimes people are reluctant to try a new experience. And so a ticket to a theater or to a more traditional way of viewing dance and performing arts seems a little off-putting. One thing that the Dance Alliance tries to do to break that boundary is to bring the dance to the people, like whether it be in the street or whether it be an outdoor event or whether it's on the Pinellas Trail. How do we do site-specific work? And I also think that because it's not tangible, it is a an ephemeral experience that um, I think maybe we're trending in our society to value those, but in the past, it's not something I can hang back on my wall. And you have to engage with it. And I think part of that engagement, people need to be educated on how to engage with it. There isn't a right way to view dance. Like what you bring to it and how you see it and how it can color your experience is important. But I think often we're kind of taught maybe historically to like view dance as from this place instead of like get active with it. And I think it's slightly more educating the community as well.
And I think that's where your passion for combining mediums can be especially useful because people, give them double reason to come and see something and dance is part of that. That gives them that, that valuable exposure.
As a performer, I love to engage with other mediums, with other types of art, and I know what it does for me. And so I think it's just a natural feed that as a choreographer, I would want to offer that to an audience as an experience as well.
So the Charlie Hounchell Scholarship Award, the Art Stars Scholarship, what drew you to participate in that?
Susanna Weymouth is very persuasive and quite a lovely advocate for the TVBCA. And when I was offered the chance to adjudicate these scholarships, I said yes with no hesitation. I think that dance inside of higher education has an important place, and that young dancers need to be encouraged to continue to pursue something that still seems on the fringe. Like dance departments are clear. It's hard for them to get money these days. It still isn't like, it's not your medical field. Let's put something like that out there. So to encourage that and to understand that there's a value to it and that we need more artists in the world, creative thinkers. So for me to say yes was a no-brainer.
And we have the winner, Caroline Henk, and I'd like to bring her in and we can hear why you thought she was the recipient. Hi, Caroline.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
Congratulations on your big win.
Thank you so much.
I realized for the first few episodes that we did of this that we talked about why the judge chose the winner. And I thought, just occurred to me that that'd be a really nice thing for the person who won to hear. So instead of making them wait until they watch the video to hear it, I thought we could ask Helen why she picked you and you could hear it live.
So Caroline had a resilience in her application that I read that came through. There was something about her drive and her desire to keep dancing against a pretty big life experience that made her kind of want to say no. And that jumped out immediately to me, that there's that kind of tenacity is, I think, important. And for a young person to be self-reflective, to sort of draw inward and say, like, what is it that I really would like to do? And to understand that she had an artistic voice to share showed maturity. And then reading through the other things in her life that she has participated in, the way she's reached out to her community, they all spoke to this very generous, well-rounded young artist who I think I love encouraging that, but I see in her so much potential inside of helping others. That was something that she spoke about in her application, to use art and dance to help others. I think you worded it as like uncover your best self, maybe, Caroline, or I'm paraphrasing you, and I thought to have a young person to be so selfless, to want to give other people an opportunity to experience the joy that she had was remarkable and striking. So for Caroline, it's always very difficult when I read all these applications, but there's something that just jumped out and it kind of grabbed me. And she's a beautiful mover, highly skilled, well-trained. So that also plays into it. But so much of being an artist is much more than just like, can I dance good? Can I do a good job on stage? There's so much more to it. And Caroline's application reflected that.
See, it was worth it. Good idea. Caroline, people dance for many reasons. What are the things inside you that are best expressed through dance?
Well, I always grew up in dance. Like my mom put me into dance when I was like 1 or 2, just to have something for me to stay active. But just really the bonds that I grew while I stayed at my studio for 16 years, just that, and being able to push what I feel inside, outside, without having to talk about it, because talking about stuff was always kind of hard for me. So being able to express that in a different way was just such a good outlet for me.
And I hear a theme, and Helen mentioned helping others, and you mentioned the bond that you had with the other people at your studio. Um, is dance a way that you believe you can help others? Is that an important piece of it for you?
I do. So I want to study like behavioral neuroscience and learn more about the brain while staying active in dance and teaching throughout college. And that way that after college, I can open up a dance therapy program so that I can help other people be their best selves. And dancing has such a big impact on how your brain works that I think that'd be really helpful to my community.
That's great. So dancing will be ideally a part of your life and career going forward. Is that the plan?
Yes.
And you'll be going to Florida State University, and then immediately upon graduation, moving back to Tampa Bay, right? Never to leave. That's part of the scholarship. You have to stay in Tampa Bay. That's in the fine print, and people didn't see that, but it's there. Well, we'll be releasing the full suite of performances next week, and we'll look forward to celebrating your win again and watching you in motion then. And I'm sure you'll watch as well. I appreciate you joining us, and congratulations again on the win, and best of luck at Florida State.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Caroline.
Thank you so much.